What's going on, guys? John Green here for another video, and today we are going to be talking about how to create a high converting Instagram advertisement using the Facebook Ads Manager. Now, in just a second here, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Facebook Ads Manager, and I'm going to go over the creation of an Instagram advertisement from start to finish, and at every step of the process, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my tips and strategies that I use to create Instagram advertisements, which earn me well over $10,000 a day. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Instagram advertising in general and how it compares to Facebook advertising. Right now, there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of confusion about Instagram advertising in the community. A lot of people out there think that for some reason Instagram traffic is inferior to Facebook traffic for some reason. And I'm here to tell you that's simply not true. There's a lot of people out there who think that Facebook ads are the only way to go and Instagram doesn't have the potential that Facebook has. But realistically, Instagram is significantly better than Facebook advertising for me in this current moment, and that is because Instagram has nowhere near the level of competition that Facebook ads have. Right now, Facebook is absolutely swarmed with advertisers. In recent years, the cost per impression of Facebook ads has gone up exponentially, and this means that every day there are more and more people competing for the exact same customers as you are. And that means if you want to sell products using Facebook ads, you have to be incredibly good at creating a convincing creative, and you have to be very good at drawing your customers in, because every day they see more and more ads from more and more people, and you have to stand out. Now, on Instagram, the same is true. In recent years, Instagram advertising has gotten much, much bigger than it ever was before, but the level of competition on Instagram is nowhere near what the level of competition on Facebook is. Now, there's a lot of Facebook ads tutorials out there, and there's a lot of people who will tell you how to create a successful Facebook advertisement, but the problem is that Facebook ads and Instagram ads are very, very different. If you try and take the strategies that you use to create successful Facebook ads and apply that to Instagram, you're going to find that you're going to have a very difficult time. And that's because the two platforms are exceptionally different. When it comes to Facebook, there are a lot of different styles of content. There are videos, pictures, as well as statuses and advertisements, but Instagram is solely images and videos. That's it. So your content is competing with only other images and videos, and that means that the image that you use is incredibly important, far more than it is on Facebook. And that means that the techniques that you use to create your Instagram ads have to be much different than what you use to create your Facebook ads. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Business Manager now, and I'm going to walk through the creation of an Instagram advertisement step by step, and I'm going to tell you guys how you can create Instagram advertisements that'll do well for you and your store. Business Manager, and we're going to go ahead and get started and create an ad. So right here I've got a completely blank ads account. There's not even a pixel installed. There's absolutely no data, but that doesn't particularly matter because this is just going to be an overview of the process I use. So we're going to go ahead and create an advertisement first and foremost. We'll call it Instagram ad, buying type auction, conversion, objective. We're going to go ahead and go with conversions because typically if you're going to be running Shopify ads, that's what you're going to be going with. So we're going to go ahead and save that to draft. And let's get started. Alright, so here we are. We got our ad. Objective is conversions, and we're going to go ahead and first work with our ad set. Alright, so let me close out of that. What we're going to do here is we're going to select a conversion event, and unfortunately since I don't have a pixel installed, I am unable to choose a conversion event, but typically you're going to want to go with something like add to cart if your pixel doesn't have a lot of purchases already on it. Or if you get up to 50 purchases per week, you're going to go ahead and want to optimize for purchases. And you're going to want to split test those regardless. You're going to want to test purchases and add to carts and see which one does better for your campaigns. Alright, so coming down, your budget can be absolutely anything you want. And your audience. So when it comes down to audiences on Instagram, it's a little bit different than Facebook. And that's because Instagram is typically cheaper per impression than Facebook. So what that means is that you're able to show your advertisement to more people for the same price as Facebook. Now, knowing that, I like to create relatively large audiences for my Instagram advertisements. When I use a targeted audience, I like to keep it between 2 and 3 million people. But if you're doing a product which is generally appealing to women or maybe appealing to men, sometimes you can get away with absolutely no targeting at all. I know that sounds crazy, but if your pixel is well seasoned and you have a lot of conversion objectives and you optimize for something like ads to cart on one of your ads, sometimes Instagram you can get away with not targeting your ads at all. You can just run it like this. Maybe just to women, just to men, but your potential reach can be hundreds of millions of people and your ads can still be profitable. And that's the power of Instagram, because the cost per impression of Facebook means that your audience has to be super targeted. You have to show your advertisement only to people who are incredibly interested in buying from you, because it's so expensive that if you don't hone your audience down, you're going to have a hard time making your advertisements profitable. But Instagram is much cheaper per impression, so you can get away with much larger audiences. I like to keep them between 2 and 3 million, or sometimes up to hundreds of billions. That's something you have to split test on your own, because depending on what your product is, it may be more successful for a small demographic, or if it's a relatively general product that a lot of people may be interested in, you may be able to get away with a much larger audience. Now, regardless of what your audience is, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that interest expansion is off, because interest expansion is pretty much useless, and all it's going to do is make your results way more expensive. Now, moving on, to run an Instagram advertisement, you're going to want to make sure that you edit the placements. Now, one key piece of advice is do not run Instagram ads and Facebook ads at the same time. I.e., don't run the same advertisement on both Instagram and Facebook, because guaranteed it will be unsuccessful on one of them, if not both. Because to make a successful ad on Instagram, you have to do things very differently than Facebook. So if you're running an ad that you're going to create with Instagram in mind, make sure you uncheck Facebook, uncheck the audience network, and as well as Messenger. And when it comes to Instagram ads, there are two choices in there. There's feed and there's stories. Stories are still relatively new. They just came out earlier this year, I believe, sometime in January maybe. And genuinely, Instagram stories are most likely not going to be beneficial for you and your business, and let me explain why. Instagram stories are more of a branding tool than anything. You have a very short amount of time to talk to your customer, and you're going to still be paying for it. Now, if you have an established brand and you just want to get your name out there a little bit more, and you just want to brand yourself a little bit, talk about something new that's going on with your store, stories can be absolutely great for that, because it's really good at conveying a quick branding message. But to sell a product using a stories ad is very difficult. So if you are using your Instagram ads to advertise for Shopify, I would recommend not running them on stories, because you're going to have a really hard time creating a profitable stories ad. So typically when I run my advertisements, go ahead and just run them in the Instagram feed and nowhere else. So just the feed and all mobile devices. And that's another important aspect of Instagram ads. All of the traffic you're going to be getting from Instagram is going to be mobile, or at least the vast, vast majority of it. So what that means is when you're creating your advertisements, keep mobile in mind. Not only with your ad image, but also with your website. The page that you direct your ad to, make sure you check it out on mobile. Too many people will go through the time and trouble of creating a great looking Shopify page and optimizing it for desktop, but they never look at it on mobile. And if you're creating Instagram ads, you need to make sure that your website is heavily mobile optimized. And that means that it's clean, it's concise, it doesn't take forever to load, and your images look good on mobile. When it comes down to Shopify pages, a lot of times some of the images look really wonky on mobile. You got to make sure you have some sort of a carousel type scrolling, because if your images are just listed out one after another, that's going to look terrible on mobile, and you're going to have a tough time converting any traffic. So before you even get into running your first Instagram advertisement, make sure that you check your website out on mobile and make sure it loads quickly and still looks clean and concise on mobile, because mobile traffic is all about simplicity. When your website is simple, it attracts mobile users, because too much going on just clutters up the mobile experience. Too many timers, too many bright colors, too many different little graphics and things, it just distracts mobile viewers. Maybe it's all right on desktop, But for mobile, make sure that your pages are as simple as possible, as concise as possible, because that also helps the loading times. Nothing will deter a customer more than them having to wait for 30 seconds for your website to load. At that point, you've already lost the sale. It's already gone. So make sure it loads quickly and is very simple. Alright, so continuing on, I typically don't mess with any of the optimization and delivery things. You can definitely change your conversion window depending on what you're optimizing for, but typically it's going to be all right if you keep it like this. These are the settings I typically use, and I've definitely tested changing all these things, and it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference. So that's the targeting aspect of things. So let's go ahead and move on to the actual Instagram advertisement creative and what we do with that. Alright, so moving into the actual ad, you're going to want to choose a Facebook page as well as an Instagram page. Now, you can run your advertisements with only a Facebook page, but what I have found is if you're trying to get organic followers to your Instagram page, one of the best ways is to direct them to your page when they view your advertisement. If you're advertising using your Instagram account and people are interested in your ad, they're way more likely to go ahead and follow your Instagram page. So if you're looking to grow your Instagram page, one of the best ways is to run Facebook ads through it. And that can just be sort of like a happy side benefit of running your ads to try and get sales. Because at the same time as getting sales, you're going to gain followers, and then your page is going to grow, and then your organic reach is going to grow, and that's just going to be beneficial for you in the future. So when running Instagram advertisements, I would definitely suggest creating a company Instagram page first. It's not the best idea just to run your Instagram advertisements through your Facebook page, although it is possible. So now moving on, when choosing your ad images, this is going to be one of the most important aspects of an Instagram ad, because all the traffic, all the content that you're competing with on Instagram is images and videos. So when you are choosing your ad image for Instagram, you need to make sure that it is absolutely great. Now, when it comes to selecting what type of ad to run, typically what I have found is on Instagram, unless you're selling several different variations of the same product, I would stick with a single ad image or a single video, because this is how the vast majority of other posts on Instagram look. Not paid for posts are all single images. So when you run a carousel, it looks a lot more like an advertisement. And at the end of the day, to be successful on Instagram, your ad has to blend into the newsfeed. It has to be intriguing, but not in a salesy type of way. You can't be immediately off the bat trying to catch someone's attention with an advertisement, because typically people don't want to see ads in their feed. So they're just going to keep on scrolling past it if it looks too much like a blatant advertisement. So I like to stick with just the single ad image, unless there are variations of the same product, in which case sometimes a carousel is better because you can show the different colors, the different variations of the same thing all in one advertisement, and that makes it sometimes a bit more beneficial. But I would never, ever recommend running a single carousel ad for several different types of products on Instagram, because not only is that going to make it harder to find a defined audience, but you're going to have a hard time knowing which pieces of your audience are interested in which product. So make sure that you have it very narrowed down and you have a single product, possibly with multiple variations, to choose your images from. And when it comes to choosing images, and when it comes to creating the images that you use for your Instagram ads, I have found that it's best to not have any text at all on the image unless it's absolutely necessary. And what I mean by absolutely necessary is if there is a key selling point of your product that you're trying to pitch that can be conveyed in just a couple of words, then it may be beneficial to write that on the image itself. But most of the time, you're going to need to draw interest just through the image, not what you write on it. So one of the best examples I have for when it's okay to put text on your ad image. Now, when you're doing a free plus shipping offer, it's often a great idea to have a really quality image for your product that draws interest, but also on top of it, maybe have a little bit of text that just says, free, just pay shipping, because that That's something really simple, really quick to convey, and that draws interest to your ad. But when you're selling things that aren't free plus shipping, I like to just use a simple picture of the product, an image that simply draws the attention to the product without any other text at all. The more it looks like an organic post, something that somebody would put on their own Instagram, the better off you are. So the less text that you have in your images, the more organic it's going to look, and the more people are going to actually be receptive to your ad because they don't necessarily see it as an ad at first. They see it as just another post. Now, when it comes to choosing the image, that's very, very, very important. Oftentimes, if you're going to be dropshipping from AliExpress, the product images included on AliExpress are often terrible. Sometimes they border on all right, but very rarely are they great. And for Instagram ads to work, you need great product images. So I recommend buying a test sample of the product yourself and taking your own image. Make it something super convincing. Don't make it look like an ad, but if you can make an interesting picture including your product, you're going to draw attention and it's going to be a lot more like an organic post. So say, for example, you were selling beach towels and you wanted to run an Instagram advertisement for your beach towel. Now you could take the AliExpress supplier image for the beach towel you're using, but instead of doing something that everybody can do, buy a version of the beach towel yourself, send it to your own house, and then go out into the wilderness. Go outside, go to a beach if you're near one, go to the mountains, go somewhere beautiful and set up an image that you would be interested in looking at. Try to create an image that will intrigue people who even don't want to buy your product. Just try to create an image that draws the eye in. Even if they're not interested in what you have to sell, if you can draw people's attention to your image, then you're going to attract the people who are most likely to buy from you. So definitely the most important aspect of Instagram, your time in selecting a product image. Take your time. Don't take the first supplier image you can find. Visually appealing, something that truly catches your eye, not just something that features your product. Now, after you have an image or multiple images selected, if you're going to do a carousel, you're going to want to put some text on the advertisement. And this is where things get really interesting, because on Facebook, you can use a lot of text on your advertisements. You're able to put a large amount of wording above your ad, but on Instagram, you could only do about a sentence or two before they have to click more to read the rest of your description. So when it comes to text, I like to keep it very short and very concise, something like something very simple, very short, very concise, because it's all about the image. Instagram does not have status updates, so there are not big chunks of text in the feed that your ad can blend with. So if you have a large amount of text underneath your image ad, your ad is going to look super out of place on Instagram, and that's going to turn people away from it. So you're going to want to keep your text super short. And another thing that's very valuable on Instagram is emojis. When it comes to you have to sort of specify your demographic when thinking about what emojis to use, but it's very, very beneficial to include at least a few emojis in maybe your call to action or maybe the first line of your ad, just to draw some attention and just to make that post look that bit more organic. Because when people are posting things on Instagram, a lot of the captions do include emojis. So if you can do that with your business, your ad is going to look a lot less like an ad, and that's going to make people a lot more receptive to it. So try and keep the description short, but also try to include some emojis if it fits with your product and if it fits with your character. Now, if you want to throw in emojis, you can either look up an emoji site and you can copy and paste them in, or if you happen to have a Mac computer like I do, if you do Control, Option, Spacebar, okay, I'm very sorry for that. It's actually Control, Command, Spacebar. So if you do Control, Command, Spacebar, it'll bring up this whole emojis window and you can put in any of the Mac emojis you want. Or you can find a website and you can copy them from there. And so that's the description. After that, you're going to want to put in your website URL and your call to action. But when it comes to the call to action, I like to keep it as Learn More. I've run pretty much all my ads with Learn More, and I haven't been able to find one that works as well as Learn More does. Learn More just looks the most simple and it looks the most natural. But if you want to test out different calls to action, if your product fits better with one of these, then you're definitely going to want to change it to, like say if you're trying to advertise music, you're going to want to change it to listen now. So just think about what your audience is and what you're trying to get them to do. But if you're trying to drive traffic to something like a Shopify store, I definitely recommend you learn more, at least at first. All right, so I think we've gone through pretty much the whole process here, and I think that's about all I have to say. So to sum things up, when you're thinking about running an Instagram advertisement, the absolute most important thing is going to be your ad image. And when you're creating your ads, definitely try your best to make it look as organic as possible. If you can make it look the least like an advertisement you can, then you're going to do much better than if it was something blatantly marketing-y. That's not really a word, but bear with me. You know what I mean. Yeah, and all right, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and cut off this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back again next time.